Well, that was fun. Now on to the story. Today's story is called You Crack Me Up, Steven by DJ Joestanator. The plot for the story is simple. Everyone in Beach City, except for Steven and the gems, had pretty much gone missing, and when Sam and Max show up, it's up to them and the gems to find them. And that's it. Yeah, this story is rather short, about 10 chapters long, and you can finish in about an hour or so on a full read. But that doesn't mean it isn't really that bad. Let's start with the obvious concept. Steven Universe and Sam and Max. Why hasn't this been thought of before? You're taking one show about magical rocks from 2013, and you're taking another show from 1987 about talking animals. I am so sorry. Now, there is one thing I can really give this credit for. The comedy. And boy is it good. Especially with Sam and Max. Especially Max. Kudos to you, buddy. It's just amazingly funny how the crystal gems react to these two. Especially Pearl and Peridot. Peridot. I should mention at this point that this takes place during Too Far and Steven's birthday. You know, the hiatus of Steven Universe. Just to make that clear. As for the types of comedy, I see both halves of the story, the first and second, using a different type of style. The first part, which is chapters 1 through 4, is mainly using Sam and Max, using randomness, crazy references, and so on. And then it turns a bit more subtle and a bit more toned down with Steven Universe. It's pretty obvious the writer knew what he was doing. Throughout chapter 2, I pretty much had to stop every 5 minutes just because I was just giggling so much. I repeat, it's just chapter 2. The jokes just continue on from there. And then there are the characters. Like I said, this writer knew what he was doing. Every single character is pretty much spot on, and I don't see any out of character moments with any of them. Not with Sam and Max, not with the gems, no one. And I think that's his strongest point. All the characters play off each other so well, it's unbelievable. Especially Max with all the gems. I swear, that's what makes it so funny. Just read one chapter and you'll know what I'm talking about. Speaking of Sam and Max, they break the fourth wall a lot. And you know what? That's okay. They're still funny, and the jokes don't really leave that much of a taint to the story. It is actually very clever. There's one part where they explain that they're not going to fight the deadly cluster with the gems because it would go against the canon of the show, and the gems actually agree with it. Very clever. Also, I like it how it's Amethyst and Steven who actually know who Sam and Max are because they read their comic books. And it adds a bit more comedy when the other gems actually read it. When it does get to the more Steven Universe side of this crossover, it does end up becoming a bit more heartwarming, more serious, and a bit more tough as things go. For spoilers' sake, I won't go too much into it, but I'll say this. You'll know when it shifts from Sam and Max to Steven Universe once it gets to it. Now for the overall review. This story is very good, despite it being so short. If you want a story that's downright hilarious, then I recommend this one. You don't have to know too much about Sam and Max because, well, believe me, their stories are as random as they get. But you might have to look up Steven Universe just a little bit to get some of the viewpoints. But if you want to go in blind, then that's up to you. If you want to check out the story for yourself, I'll leave the link to it in the description. I'll see you all later. Neon out.